Well, it is Super Bowl Sunday here in America, ladies and gentlemen, and we have a big game, and then a big halftime show that no one is going to watch on Turning Point USA with Kid Rock. But in this breaking story, Occupy Democrats, what we have for you first is the first annual ever pedo pregame show. And you're going to want to see this. I promise you, I'm going to show you that pregame show about the pedos in just a moment, right after these messages. Take a quick listen here.
Speaker Johnson is covering up for pedophiles. Do you guys get that?
That's right. Speaker Johnson stars as tight end.
What's in this so-called final batch?
It's worth noting these were released more than 40 days after the legal deadline for the Department of Justice to do so.
And there's no question we have an all-star lineup on our pedo pregame show.
The millions of pages of Jeffrey Epstein materials show the prominent men who were once in the disgraced offender circle.
Yes, Donald Trump never knew him at all, did he? And if you didn't know this, the star wide receiver for the pedo pregame show is this man.
Including these photos of former Prince Andrew on all fours over an unidentified woman on the floor. Queen Elizabeth's son has denied all wrongdoing, but British Prime Minister Keir Starmer called on him to testify to Congress.
And after an unfortunate injury to Bill Clinton, the new wide receiver is this guy.
And this appears to be an email from Elon Musk to Epstein in 2012 asking, what day, night will be the wildest party on your island? Sent 4 years after Epstein pleaded guilty to soliciting a minor for prostitution. Musk, who repeatedly has called for the release of an Epstein client list, denies any wrongdoing. The new documents also show Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick arranged a visit to Epstein's island. After which, Epstein passed along this message to Lutnick. Nice seeing you.
And who is the owner of our fabulous pedo pregame show? Well, it might be this man.
Other emails show New York Giants co-owner Steve Tisch asked Epstein to connect him with women. In a May 2013 email, Epstein invited Tisch to his mansion late in the evening. Tisch responded, "Can I expect trouble?"
And of course, starring at quarterback at our pregame pedo show with the greatest stats ever and the most mentions on the team, you got it, our one and only POTUS. Here he is.
President Trump consistently has said he kicked Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago club and ended their friendship 2 decades ago. And while there are hundreds of references to Trump in the trove of newly released documents, the president claimed they further exonerate him.
Yes, the breaking story in which the Wu-Tang Boys got together and put up an awesome video with Donald Trump and the Epstein files on a mass.
Last night, Will Lewis, the embattled CEO and publisher of the Washington Post, stepped down just 3 days after the paper laid off a third of its staff and eliminated or gutted several areas of coverage. Will Lewis will be replaced by the current CFO, Jeff D'Onofrio. Lewis, though, was nowhere to be found during the call on Wednesday in which those mass layoffs were announced. He was spotted after an NFL, the next day, by the way, after an NFL red carpet event in San Francisco. Lewis's farewell letter was just 4 sentences long, but it was noteworthy. In it, he thanked the paper's billionaire owner, Jeff Bezos, but made absolutely no mention of the Post's journalists. If you go to the Washington Post website right now, you'll see the phrase, "Democracy dies in darkness." It's emblazoned on the masthead. That motto made its first appearance in 2016, which is when the Post's then executive editor, Marty Baron, interviewed Jeff Bezos and asked what had driven him to buy the newspaper in 2013.
I think a lot of us believe this, that democracy dies in darkness, that certain institutions have a very important role in making sure that there is light.
9 months later, "Democracy dies in darkness" was rolled out as the paper's new motto, a month into President Trump's first term. Now, the Post said at the time it was not meant to be a response to Donald Trump specifically, but at a time when the president repeatedly attacked the press as the enemy of the people, the motto felt like it carried an added significance, not merely as a warning, but as a promise to keep shining a light. And considering the extreme lengths that the Trump administration has gone to over the years to distort the truth, a robust press that holds our leaders to account is more vital than ever. The former Washington Post associate editor Ruth Marcus told me this yesterday.
It's not just that democracy dies in darkness, as a wise man once said. It's that corruption flourishes in darkness.
Bezos had the right idea in 2016, and for several years he was celebrated for his stewardship of the Post. But along the way, after Trump's first term, something changed. As the prospect of Trump returning to the White House became very real in 2024, critics say Bezos started to interfere in editorial matters. Things came to a head when he abruptly blocked the paper's planned endorsement of Kamala Harris 11 days before the election. Bezos then revamped the opinion section, pushing out most of its left-of-center voices, and announced moving forward that the editorial section would only publish in support of the twin pillars of personal liberties and free markets. All of this was widely seen by many as the Post appeasing Trump, leading to an exodus of subscribers and waves of resignations. Marty Baron, who interviewed Bezos in 2016, told The New Yorker this week, quote, Bezos' sickening efforts to curry favor with President Trump have left an especially ugly stain on their own. This is a case study in near-instant self-inflicted brand destruction. Bezos told Baron in 2016 that democracy dies in darkness. He emblazoned it on the Post's masthead. But after this week, it sure feels like Bezos himself is turning out the light. I'm joined now by the longtime journalist Marty Baron. Baron served as the executive editor of the Washington Post from 2012 to 2021. Just 7 months into that tenure, Baron learned that Amazon's Jeff Bezos would be buying the paper. Marty's book, Collision of Power, Trump, Bezos, and the Washington Post chronicles that episode and so much more. Marty, good to see you. Thank you for being with us. Marty, help us separate the wheat from the chaff here. There is a reality that major publications and
Thank you so much for being here. I do want to ask you about that comment from the President of the United States insulting you like that at the National Prayer Breakfast. What's your response to him?
Well, first of all, I'm glad to know I'm in the president's prayers. But second of all, you know, on the internet, some people have suggested that MIT should take my degree away. And my response is, which one should they take away? I have 2 degrees from MIT. And I'm sorry you booked a moron today on your show.
Well, fair enough. I do want to talk to you about your fight to release the Epstein files in a minute. But first, I want to get your reaction to the news about how the president posted, then deleted this racist video depicting the Obama as apes. He has refused to apologize. Do you think he should apologize to the Obamas?
He should absolutely apologize. He's gone too far. I mean, he's attacked my wife recently online, and I do think there are limits. If for a while it's kind of funny, but once you pass certain guardrails, like attacking a man's spouse or getting into racist tropes, I think it's somebody at the White House, maybe Susie Wiles, needs to go to the president and just ask him for his phone and maybe ask him just to show him the tweet before he sends it out.
Yeah.
So he writes, Jonathan, you are the racist, not I. Get rid of your hate, in quotation marks. And then you can see it on the left side of your screen. Best wishes. Donald.
Wow.
Donald
Best
Trump.
wishes, right.
Best
Thank you
wishes.
for your attention to this matter.
Right.
Yes.
So anyone who's been paying attention to Donald Trump all these years isn't really surprised.
Central Park 5. I mean, you can go way back.
Way
back. Donald Trump refusing to rent to black tenants when he was taking over the real estate company from his father. He got sued by the federal government and had to settle and essentially admit that that's what we were doing. So no, that the racism goes way back.
And the racism also invades everything. Right? Because there's one thing for someone to be personally racist, right? Yes. For them to believe that black and brown people are beneath them. But then the question also becomes, when they're in politics, what do they do with that racist feeling, that racist mindset? And it appears to be, for Donald Trump,
the situation has been started, and the big decision about the athletes and their role in society. Some people believe they should only focus on sport. They say the only Olympics should about the complete units and the national provide. But another to believe athletes are also citizens. They say athletes have been right to share their feeling and the opinion just like for else. In recent years, for many around the works have been spoken about the social media and political issues. Some talked about too easy human rights problem and their communities. Because of the social media, their voice now to reach millions of people very quick. However, and the speak out of the political reason cannot be strong people and support their other citizen them. That it was a happen this case sports hundreds far honestly about this feeling this belief normal have to mix economies for time political tension. But the citizens stay for at least response the countries that should not be sports and provider. This difference for opinion for division public opinion cannot be political and United States for currently very tense issues like immigrants leadership and the national identity and the strong debates because of the even international events like to Olympic by begin political decision. The persons have been IC agent and with US team also released for questions. Some people believe the agent now the security reasons they should not be international events required strong safe means. But another figure for the immigrants and insured we and connecting to sport the worried about spend to messing for events through mean properties for friendship the reason for citizen international audience for the attention of political issues. The movements of Vice President J.D. Vance are the opinion for ceremony and reflect the public issues and tension. Exports have been situation however to global events longer space from this political today's sports political public opinion and the close connecting. The Olympics are meant to bring together the struggle for the connecting to international leadership, but it today tried and issues for leader to athletes far not disappear. The situation are rise to important question. Should sport to speak for the political normal issues for the appear to global event? There is not simple answer, but one of things clear. Public figure for leadership about the public authorities their world have been reaction for the national international news for winner for continue these people hope to focus and sports for performance. But for the stories for political sports become more to connecting that to even to before. Will to continue follow start development and behind more to updates. Thanks you for staying with you and keep watching more international news.